welcome to a sparkling new podcast from Mike Parry and Mike Graham. We're the two Mikes.
Actually, it sounds even better when you do it Dullsville, because when you try to be happy and excited and energetic, you sound pathetic.
Thanks.
Look at the lights! It's donkeys led by lions.
Yeah, that's right. It's the wrong way round.
No, it's lions led by donkeys.
Yeah.
Share. Started.
Sounds Dutch again.
Yeah, sure.
Look at the light! This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. It's time to say a very, very good morning and a very warm welcome to Mr. Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
Yeah, very good morning to you, Mike. I have to say, although I never met Richie Bernard...
Richie Benner.
Benno.
Yeah.
Richie Bernard, it is, actually.
Is it? Why does everyone call him Richie Benner, then?
Well, his name is spelled Benaud, but
Yeah.
we mustn't row about the pronunciation of his name, because the poor chap's dead, and we're trying to pay tribute to his qualities as a broadcaster, because he's in the same business as us.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So if you were to pull me up just immediately on the pronunciation, I think he's in very bad taste.
I apologise immediately.
Thank you.
In that case.
I'll call him Benno just to keep you happy, so that you won't make that mistake again.
Thank you very much.
Richie Benno, yeah, I mean, obviously we've all seen him on television. The thing is, he lived to such a great age, 84. It's very hard to find anybody who actually played with him, and that's why Jack's interview, which we've just played out again.
Yeah, we should hear a bit of that again later on, I think.
I mean, it was fascinating. He actually played with Richie Benner in the 60s and became his best friend. And more than that, spoke to him just 4 days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, considering he's probably the most famous ex-cricketer on the planet, to have Jack, a man we both know very well indeed, actually in communication with him and being so close to him in the last days of his life is an amazing thing, as amazing for Jack as it is for Richie Benner. You know?
And the fact that they used to still sort of bet on horse racing throughout their friendship as well just tells you
just amazing. You know, Richie Benner telling Jack all about what's going on down under and vice versa. Absolutely fascinating. And I have to say, another thing that really struck me was when Jack said, well, you know, I got into broadcasting after I'd played cricket. Richie Benner had become a friend. He took me aside. He told me how to do it, when to be quiet and all that. Exactly the same experience happened to me with another legend of the broadcasting world, and that was Sir Peter O'Toole, who is Peter O'Toole, is it?
Peter O'Toole.
Peter O'Toole, was he an actor?
He was an actor, yeah.
No, sorry.
He was in Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm thinking about...
What are you thinking about?
Sir Peter, you know, the great racing pundit.
Oh, you mean Peter O'Sullivan?
Peter Sullivan.
Peter O'Sullivan.
Peter O'Sullivan, yes.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Look, Peter O'Toole. It's easy to confuse the two.
Yeah, it is.
One was an award-winning, actor with an Irish background. Yeah, another was into horse racing.
Yeah. Well, one rode around on a camel, and the other one commentated on horse racing.
Yeah.
But no, sorry, what I meant to say was the very first race I ever did was at the Chester races, because I was a young reporter on the Chester Chronicle, and I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know the names of any horses, and I didn't even know which way around the track they ran. So I asked this old gentleman next to me, who was sitting next to me in the press box at Chester races, if he could just give me a bit of a guide to it. It turned out to be Peter O'Sullivan, who's now Sir Peter O'Sullivan, and he was so kind to me, and I had to cover it for like 3 days, and on every day, you know, he took me under his wing and told me what was going to happen and all that kind of stuff, and I'll never forget his kindness.
Did you ever repay him for his kindness?
Well, I don't think I ever saw him again. I don't think I've... Oh, yes, I have. I've seen him a couple of times at places like... the Epsom Derby. I remember seeing him in Epsom.
You've never seen him at Cheltenham or anything like that?
No, never seen him at Cheltenham. Saw him at the Grand National ones. And all I'm saying is, sometimes you can get to a position in your job when you're so good, you don't mind passing on your secrets to other people because you have supreme confidence.
Have you ever reached that point?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you?
I try and help everybody I can in this business. Yes, I do. Well, look how I've helped you.
How have you helped me?
When you first changed from newspapers into broadcasting, I was already a very established broadcaster.
That's true, yeah.
I would say award-winning.
Yeah.
And,
even though you haven't won any awards.
And yes, I have.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
What awards have you won?
I was UTV Broadcaster of the Year. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Hasn't everybody won that? It's just kind of Buckingham's turn for that, isn't it?
No.
No?
I won the first ever one.
Did you?
In fact, they invented the award to give it to me.
Yeah.
Because they
Was that the one they had in that place around the back of Piccadilly Circus?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I was nominated in that one for Speech Broadcaster of the Year.
Oh, I got it.
Got it, yeah. No, you didn't. No, I think they gave it to George Galloway.
Well, what did they give me then? They gave me.
You must have been sports broadcaster.
No, it wasn't. I was broadcaster.
No,
of the
we
year.
weren't in the same category. Otherwise, I'm sure it would have made something of it.
I was in the overall one.
Oh,
there was speech, there was sport, there was dramatics and all that.
Entertainment personality or something.
No. I got Broadcaster of the Year, and
Really?
I've still got the award at home.
Have you?
But actually, I've taken it off the top of my telly for two reasons. Firstly, because I've got a widescreen telly now. It's not wide enough to put an award on it. Yeah, exactly.
It's flat. It's flat.
Yeah, it's because it's flat.
Yeah.
So there's no room on the top.
Surely you should have a sort of a case of trophies, shouldn't you?
Well, I don't put it in there, but what I did is, have you
got a case of trophies?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
and
I've got a trophy cabinet.
Apart from the Butlins boxing.
My boots with which I scored a penalty at Old Trafford.
Oh yeah.
No, in fact, my boots. They're on Brazil's boots, and he lent me to them on the day, and I never gave them back because my mum was so proud of the score, of me scoring it, and there was a picture.
Did you clean them?
Yeah, I cleaned the boots. Yeah, yeah. I've also got a silver salver commemorating me scoring a penalty at Old Trafford on the same day.
Oh, so that's the same kind of trophy in the same
sort
cabinet,
of trophy.
Yeah. Right.
And I've got a picture of that as well. That's in my trophy cabinet.
So it's just really a trophy for one thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really, I suppose, yeah. But nevertheless, I
tried to convince my wife when I was married, because I used to win loads of golf trophies, right?
Right.
And some of them were quite hideous, but quite big.
Yes.
And I tried to convince her to get a trophy cabinet, but she
wouldn't know it. No.
She just chuck them all in a box and put them in the loft.
Yeah, so no wonder the marriage failed.
Yeah, I know, it wasn't good.
Anyway, no, what I was saying is, because I've really diverted off the route
You
now,
certainly
what I was
have.
talking about. But the other reason why I've taken the trophy off the top of the telly, I mean, it would have fallen off because it's not wide enough, the telly.
Well, that's a good reason.
Yeah, but I put it on a shelf in front of the telly now, right? I have a little shelf in front of the telly with all those things that you used to put on top of the telly.
It, can you?
Yeah, you can. It's below the screen.
Okay.
You see what I mean? I put my clock on there and all this kind of stuff, But
why have you got a clock there?
So tell what time it is. What do you think you do with a clock?
You can hit a button on the TV, it tells you what time it is.
I like to be able to glance at the clock 24 hours a day to find out what time it is.
What size is the clock?
It's about the size of a book.
So it's quite big then?
Yeah, it's like a carriage clock.
Right.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you're sitting, whatever it is, 20 feet away watching the TV,
yes,
you can't read the face, can you?
Yes, I can.
Can you?
Yes, I can, yeah. I've got good vision.
Have you?
And I've got other things on it. I've got a silver boat made of silver. Obviously, yeah, but I mean, no, but I mean...
You've got a silver boat?
Well, it's a nice ornament. It's a good ornament. I used to have on top of the telly.
What kind of boat is it?
It's
is it like a dinghy type boat?
No, it's a sailing boat.
You've got in Norwich.
Sailing boat with a big sail. Anyway, look, this is all nonsense.
Anyway, listen, I wanted to say to you, the mantra of Richie Benner was, when he was commentating, if you can add to what's on the screen, then do it. Otherwise, shut up.
Yes, that's right.
Which is nothing like your mantra.
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, you never stop talking.
No, but I have to talk because I'm eloquent in describing things. Right. Everybody will tell you in this business of ours, the one in which I've won awards, that I have
one award anyway.
I have the most fluorescent dialogue of anybody they know.
Yeah, but dialogue doesn't necessarily get better with fluorescence.
I started the first time we did Cheltenham. I was the one who described Cleve Hill as the looming black presence in the background. Enveloping the Colosseum.
The cliffs.
Yeah, enveloping the Colosseum, which is Cheltenham Racecourse, the greatest sporting arena in the world.
Yeah.
And ever since then, everybody else in every other area of sport copies what I've said. No, never been said before. Never been said before.
How amazing is that?
Sorry, I've got to tell the listeners why I took the trophy away from the telly.
Oh, okay.
Because you and I came in here one night and did a story about a woman who had a mirror on her window ledge, which reflected the sun onto a carpet and set fire to her house, right?
Yeah.
Well, my trophy, I noticed, was sending rays of sunshine all over the room in different colours.
Right.
So it became a prism.
Yes.
A prism, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, that's got to be dangerous.
Well, I suppose it was always a prism, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, after I had the story about, diverted sunshine can set fire to your house, I decided to put the trophy away. So the trophy's now behind the telly.
Very
but I can still see it.
Because the sun was very bright today for the first
time.
It was warmth from the sun. I was down in the country. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was a beautiful day.
Oh, were you down in the country?
Yeah, I went to see everybody, saw the dogs,
Do you
saw
enjoy
the
going
kids.
to the country?
Well, I go there because it's part of my responsibilities to do it.
No. There's another reason why you go there, because you told me this the other night when you were outside.
Well, it's nice to get out of the city, yeah.
No, when you were outside having a cigarette on the fire escape, and I come out and join you, although I don't smoke.
Some more rubbish you've made up, is it?
No, I didn't make this up.
Really?
I said,
Same the time, by the way.
I said, you're going down to the country? He said, no, the family are away. And I said, oh, well, that's a break. You're staying in the city. He said, yeah. I said, oh, will you miss it? He said, well, I do a bit, actually. Yeah. I like playing the country squire.
That's not what I said at all.
You said, I like playing the country squire. I like walking the dog.
I do like
in
walking
the country.
The dog. Yeah.
And playing the country squire.
Well, what does that mean exactly?
Well, you tell me, because you said it.
I don't remember saying playing the country squire.
You said, I like putting my wellies on and playing the country squire.
Yeah. Well, it's not a question of playing the country squire. I did walk the dog today. He was very happy to see me.
Right, I'm sorry, you're calling me a liar. You said, I like playing the country squire.
I don't recall saying it.
Well, you did say.
And I don't know what it means.
When a politician says, oh, I don't recall that, that means, yes, I did say that, but I'm not admitting to it.
I don't know what it means.
You're basically a liar.
I don't know what it means.
You're a barefaced liar.
I think if any one of us is going to be put on the stand
and if you don't know what it means...
charged with passing untruth to the general public, I think you'd win hands down.
If you don't know what it means, not only are you a barefaced liar, you are also an empty-headed liar.
Thank you very much indeed. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. It didn't take very long for him to get into character. This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. Don't forget, of course, tonight is Porky Quiz night, and bizarrely, the quiz subject tonight is the works of Enid Blyton, which
why
is
that bizarre?
perhaps the most ridiculous quiz we've ever done.
Why is that bizarre?
Well, it's just a ludicrous subject.
Why?
Well, because it's not in any way rigorous. I mean, how do you do a quiz? I mean, the quizmasters have really struggled to come up with some questions about Enid Blyton.
She's one of the most famous authors in the history of literature.
Well, I know that, but it's not really something...
How can that be strange?
Well, it's not something you would expect us to be discussing, really, the works of Enid Blyton. Anyway, we'll be doing that a little bit later on in the show.
What you mean is you have great difficulty understanding the subject, and therefore you're mocking it again.
It's not a speciality of mine, I'm quite freely happy to admit. Now, here's one from Roy, who's tweeted at the two Mikes. He says, classic Porky, so giving, loves to share his wealth of experience. You should feel honoured to share the studio with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he's saying to me.
Well, look, I'm not going that far to say that. What I'm saying is I'm of a very generous spirit.
Are you?
I give lots of people money if I can help them. If I can't, I give them experience. Yeah. I give them support. I give them moral fibre.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you haven't got any left, I suppose.
What?
That's why you haven't got any left for yourself.
I'm not going to respond to that.
Dash says
Sorry.
this. It took 18 seconds for Mr. Parry to come out, all guns blazing, and put you right, Mr. Graham. This must be the record.
What was that on?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, it's about Bernard and Bonneau.
Yeah.
Richie.
I reckon bingo, says Peter. Within 10 minutes, this is a country where, according to Porky, people don't really drink alcohol. He's talking about Sweden. He says, staggering home drunk as a duck in Stockholm, waiting for the two Mikes. I've got a bingo card consisting of nothing else apart from the word well.
Yes. Well, by the way, it's not a Louis Van Gaal expression, as many people think. Louis Van Gaal.
Oh, no, it's a Sven Göran
It's Sven.
Well, nobody expects it to be a Louis Van Gaal situation.
Wasn't Sven pontificating the other night on what's wrong with English football?
I don't know. He has been recently.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, talking about sport, never mind football, we're talking cricket because of the very sad demise of Richie Benner, who's died at 84. Yeah. Magnificent cricketer, but, it's difficult to personally comment on that because we never saw him play because he retired when he was 37.
Yeah, just about the end of the 50s, I think.
Yeah, well, hang on. If he's 84 now, retired when he's 37, 47 years ago.
Yeah, he was born in 1930, so that would have been sort of 60.
Yeah.
Mid to late 60s, he was playing cricket.
Yeah,
but
that's
you probably
right,
weren't watching cricket then because it wasn't really a game for you.
But obviously, we've all seen him on the commentary box many times. Now, the reason why this is very, very topical is that just, I think it was the night before last, was the launch of the new Wisden annual. And every time they launch it, they have a dinner and all that. Right. And the editorial in the Wisden book is always kind of, the cricket as we see it.
Well, this is what's been largely credited with the sacking of Downton, isn't it? Paul Downton.
Absolutely, because it happened just before the dinner the other night. But what I was going to say is, in one of the editorials there, they point out that cricket in this country is decreasing in its popularity. Right. And they put that down to things like, the new age child plays on a computer all the time, doesn't go out and all that kind of stuff. Secondly, we haven't got as many playing fields as we used to have. Yeah. But then they come up with the other nugget, which I always rail against because I don't think it's true, and that is that because Sky have bought up most of the cricket now that's shown in this country, it's not generally available to children to watch on free-to-air television. Right. I don't buy that. Most households in this country now have access to multi-channel television. Is
that true? Is that a statistic?
Of course it's true.
Or are you just saying that off the top of your head?
No, I'm certain it's true.
Sky TV is not cheap for a start. And I mean, I know that a lot of people who perhaps maybe shouldn't be paying a lot of money for Sky do pay for it. But I mean, a lot of people don't have it as well. I mean, I wouldn't say it's more than 50%, would you?
Oh, yeah, I would actually. I don't... Which house do you ever go into now that hasn't got Sky?
Well, I haven't got it.
Sorry?
I haven't got it.
What do you mean you haven't got it?
I haven't got Sky.
You have in one of your houses?
Yeah, I have in London. I haven't got it down in Sussex because it's too expensive.
Is it? Really?
Yeah.
What, for you?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's not a question. It's not a question of whether it's for me or not. I just won't. I won't pay 75, 80 quid a month for TV that I very, very rarely watch.
But you pay £70 for a bottle of champagne.
Well, yeah, but that's more enjoyable.
Well, if you just drank one less bottle of champagne a month, you could have Sky down in the country,
It's not a question of whether I could afford it.
I'm shocked at what you've just told me.
It's not a question of whether I should or not be able to afford it.
The priorities in your budget.
Right.
Priorities in your budget are, as much food as possible to stuff my face, as much drink as possible to throw down my gullet.
Not true.
And then third priority, and I don't think I'll pay for Sky because I prefer drinking champagne.
That's not true.
That is a disgraceful...
You've completely put words into my mouth.
Disgraceful
First of all, my
judgment
priorities are
on
my children. My priorities are a
why don't you let your children watch cricket then on TV?
They don't want to watch cricket.
Yes, they do.
No, they're not interested in watching it.
They don't know about watching cricket because you don't let them watch it. No, if they don't watch it, they don't know what they're missing.
They play a bit of cricket, funnily enough, in the garden, which is far more interesting than watching it.
Anyway, listen, let me tell you here. What it says is...
So you've just made up all these statistics off the top of your head.
No, I haven't.
Almost everyone in this country has Sky, right?
Yeah.
Now, looking behind the glass there, neither of those guys have Sky either.
Yes, but you see...
So out of the 4 people sitting here currently doing this show, you're the only one that's got it. So that gives us 25%.
I've got 3 Sky subscriptions.
Well, you're an idiot then.
In my 3 homes.
Well, how much does that cost you?
One of them costs £120 a month, but I'm not sure why. I think it's because it's...
So you're paying upwards of £200 a month?
Yes.
To watch TV in places you're not even actually at?
Most of the time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, most of the time I'm not there. That's true. Yeah. But I think I also have broadband and telephone in one of the homes.
Well, let's hope so.
I think that's why it's so expensive.
Well, no, that's very cheap.
But
you can get broadband for £20 a month.
Yeah, but to me, you see, having Sky in your house is exactly the same as having a roof on the house. And without Sky,
that's because you spend so much time,
home.
polaxed in front of the TV, looking at your massive clock. And your stupid little sailing boat made of silver. Lying there eating your beans on toast and drinking massive bucket loads of Pinot Grigio out of a box.
Why do you mock? Why do you mock?
Because your lifestyle's very different to mine.
Yes, exactly. Very different. I don't mock your lifestyle.
Really?
Yeah, I don't mock your lifestyle.
Just exactly what you've just done.
No, I didn't. I said that you called yourself
You told me that my priority...
Squire.
You told me my priority is to shove massive amounts of food down my throat, which is not true. To drink massive amounts of champagne.
Yes.
I was out, for example, walking a dog today for about an hour.
Right.
That doesn't mean that means I'm not sitting in front of a TV waiting for something to happen.
Okay.
Do you understand? What's the matter now?
I want to read this report to you, and I'm not going to be diverted. Now, this report is from the England and Wales Cricket Board, okay?
Yeah.
According to the board's own national playing survey, the number of recreational players fell by 7% last year to 844,000 adults and children aged 14 and above.
Right.
And the chap who was the author of this report, Mr. Booth...
Yeah, is he still working there, or has he been fired as well?
No, he's still working there.
Sure?
As far as I can see. Yeah, I think so.
They're not really on top of things at the ECB at the moment, are they?
They're not, I agree with you.
You can imagine, like, the phone ringing and going, can I speak to so-and-so? No, he's just left.
That's right, yeah.
He's been fired.
Yeah,
he's just got out with his belongings in a plastic bag.
Just got in a taxi. Mr. Booth says the numbers are even worse than they seemed. The total figure included almost 200,000 cameo cricketers who played only once or twice a year, and a further 405,000 who only turned out occasionally.
Yeah.
The board has earlier attributed the decline to poor weather.
Well, you see, I don't buy any of this stuff, right? Because I've had this conversation before many times on this show about why we don't have enough young, talented footballers coming through or enough young, talented cricketers coming through. And, you've been to the West Indies where you see kids playing
on they don't anymore.
A patch of any kind of mud
they don't
that they
anymore.
can find. What do you mean they don't anymore?
They don't anymore. This is the whole point. The reason why the West Indies is no longer a major power in world cricket like it used to be in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s is because kids in the West Indies do not play cricket anymore.
Well, they still do.
They don't. They play baseball
and
or basketball.
Yeah, they want to play basketball because that's where the money is. Yeah, I get that. But certainly you will still see kids playing on a sort of patch of ground, whether they're hoping to become great cricketers. Same in India, same in Pakistan. Anytime there's a bit of flat ground, they're playing cricket. And in this country, we get told, oh well, there's no suitable facilities, which is rubbish. The weather's no good, which is also rubbish. I think it's just that people don't get taught cricket at school. I mean, I wasn't taught cricket at school, for example. In the summer, we did athletics at my school.
Yeah, well, as you know, I was the captain of the King's School Chester third 11
cricket
team.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you never make it into the second 11 then? At any point?
I didn't want to go any further in my cricketing career.
This is typical of you.
No,
You'd rather be captain.
Yes,
you'd rather be captain of a lower order.
Yes, that's right.
Than you would to be, and also ran in a higher order. That says a lot about you.
No, that is absolutely right, Mike. Do you know why? Because I have natural talent to lead. Yeah. I have natural instincts of leadership.
But why wouldn't you have wanted to learn more about the art of cricket by going up into a higher division?
Because they wouldn't have made me captain.
Exactly.
And therefore, I couldn't have dictated the tactics of the team, which I know were good.
But you weren't good enough to move up to the second 11.
No, it wasn't that. It was that I really wasn't a good enough batsman.
What were you good at, by the way?
I was an all-rounder.
Were you?
Yeah, all-rounder.
So what sort of bowler were you?
Fast. What are you laughing? What are you,
You've never been fast at anything.
What are you laughing at?
You've never been fast at anything.
My main ability was as a slip catcher.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was razor sharp.
With your face.
No, you fool. I was razor sharp and incredibly athletic. They used to call me the cat.
Really?
Because I was...
I find that very hard to believe.
What do you keep laughing at?
I find it very hard to
What do you
believe.
keep laughing at?
Looking at you and seeing you as an athlete just doesn't kind of compare
Hang on.
to anything else that I can
This was
think of.
40 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
but nevertheless,
Yeah.
you just haven't got an athlete's shape.
I'm sorry, but that is completely
I mean,
wrong.
we see an awful lot of people here at TalkSport who have been professional athletes in their time, okay? And
Yeah.
some of them may not look quite as well as they used to, but you can still see the athleticism in them.
Oh, really?
With you, I can't see it.
Yeah, you can see a lot of athleticism in Al, can you? These
Yeah, I
days?
can, actually.
Can you?
I
Yeah,
can,
Right,
yeah,
okay, good.
definitely.
The other thing, of course, which you haven't mentioned, because, of course, you haven't got the subject completely covered like I have,
Yeah.
is that if your street is full of parked cars, you can't play cricket by chalking a wicket on the wall at the end of the street, which
Why
is
not?
what we used to do.
Yeah, well, you can if you live in a dead end, can't you?
No, because there's too many cars in the street.
Yeah, well-
we used to play football in the street. You can't do that anymore. That's
Right.
another reason why we have a demise in this country of the natural ability of footballers and cricketers. Rugby players, it doesn't matter because nobody ever used to play rugby in the street.
Yeah.
They used to
My
play-
kids can play football in the street, but there's a private road.
Where's this? In the
down
country?
in the country, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. I
And they
like
could
that.
probably play football in the street in London, actually, as well, except the ball might go in the river.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah. You see, in my emporiums, you can play cricket a little bit, but...
You can play in your underground car park, couldn't they?
yeah, but you wouldn't be allowed on the grass. That's a problem.
A bit oily. Well, why don't you let kids play on the grass? What's wrong with you?
Because they might damage the trees.
Right.
And we have an award-winning arboretum of trees, which I...
Award-winning?
Yes.
Did they get an award from UTV?
I think you're in one of those moods tonight
I'm
where
not.
it's going to be almost impossible
No.
to get any sense out
How
of you.
about this from Nigel?
I'll just warn the listeners.
I've got
this is an MG alert.
Look, I've got some advice for you from Nigel in East London. He
Right.
says, chaps, one Sky subscription is enough. Just watch via Sky Go when you're away from your main home.
Really? What's that?
Well, it just means that you have one subscription, and whenever you're somewhere else, because you can't watch it
Yeah.
in more than one place at the same time, you just log into the same subscription.
Funny enough, my nephew, who lives up in London, watches
Well, we're
all...
in London at the moment.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What do you mean up in London?
Well, because I was going to say, watches all the football
Yeah.
from his father's Sky subscription in
So
Bournemouth.
why have you got three then?
Well, I didn't know about this system, so I might have to revisit that. It does seem a bit of a waste, actually,
It's a
doesn't
hell of a waste of money.
having all these Sky subscriptions.
Think of the
when
number
you-
of bottles of champagne you could be buying.
Yeah, it's true.
Shocking.
Yeah.
He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. The Porky Quiz coming up a little bit later on. This is TalkSport.
TalkSport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. TalkSport.
This is TalkSport Extra Time. We are the two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course. We did manage to get another podcast out yesterday, Mike, without any gobbledygook on it, which was good.
Yes.
So another great
well,
success.
except for the fact that you were on it. That in itself includes gobbledygook.
Yeah, we might have another...
Most people know
we
that.
might hear some more about that. Now, how about this from Christopher, who's tweeted at the two Mikes. With news of up to 100 billion barrels of oil underneath the southeast, Mr. Parry may finally realise his dream of becoming J.R. Ewing.
Yeah,
have you seen this story?
I have, yeah. It's amazing. It's near to Gatwick Airport, which is 10
It's not
miles
that
from
far
me.
from you, is it?
No, it's 10 miles
There
south
might
of
be
me.
oil derricks popping up all over the place.
Could be, and
drilling.
I would welcome them, wouldn't you?
Would you? Well, I mean...
You know what you'll
I
get?
would-
You'll get all these countryside people now saying, oh, it's ugly and destroys the environment. Well, I'm sorry, but if you can put up a huge mast with a propeller on the top of it and call it a wind turbine, then you can, which is useless and costs us enormous amount of money just to be there, just for the old environmental lobby, because it doesn't actually give us any electricity, and it stops going round when the wind gets too fierce. Then you can have oil derricks, which actually bring enormous wealth to the country. That is my view.
Yeah, well, I mean, the trouble is that, you don't want it to turn into that... So we were talking about Texas and Dallas the other day.
Yeah.
You don't want it to turn into those kind of areas of Texas where all you see is like oil derrick after oil derrick, these things going up and down in the desert.
The nodding dogs.
Yeah, and then,
Why not?
of course,
Why
because...
not?
Well, because one, it ruins a rather beautiful piece of land, but two, it also calls for all sorts of trucks and heavy machinery.
No, it
and,
doesn't.
And
You
all
just put
kinds
it all
of,
into a big container and then you pipe it out to the coast.
Well, pipe it out to which coast?
The south coast.
Why?
Because it's near.
Well, why would you pipe it to the coast? What's
Because
going on at the
that's
coast?
where you'd have your refineries.
Oh, I see.
Because then the distribution factor along
So, I mean, have you
south of
seen
England.
where they do these pipelines? Where you're going to dig it underground, are you?
No, you could
he's
put
gonna
it.
carry it
Well,
across
you
the
could
top of-
you could put it underground, or you could put it above ground. You've got to remember.
You're trying to turn this place into Azerbaijan or something.
Well, I wouldn't mind if it was, because remember, I was brought up in the shadow of Stanlow Oil Refinery in Ellesmere Port,
Yeah, and I
which
think
is
that's what
the
happened to your
biggest in
brain.
Europe. No,
I
it's the
think that's
biggest
what
in
happened to your
Europe.
brain. You probably got some kind of poisoning as a child.
You know, when we went up to Liverpool on a couple of occasions, when we come up the M6, you go along the M56,
Yes,
right, towards the Wirral,
Yeah.
the base of the Wirral, and on your right is Stanlow Oil Refinery.
Right.
It goes on for about 8 or 10 miles. It is a massive development and brings a lot of wealth to this
There's
country.
a massive big one up at Grangemouth as well, where I used to live quite near,
Grangemouth.
just outside of Edinburgh.
Another massive one at Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go to Middlesbrough and watch Middlesbrough, the petrochemical industry is just on the other side of the sort of river or bay, and you can smell it in the air all the time.
Now, here's some more interesting information for you for your study about Sky TV. Georgie says this: Porky to Sky TV popularity. I'm now retired and used to have Sky from the mid-90s for about £15 a month until 2006, when it reached £50 plus, and I didn't think it overall value. I just use Freeview now, plus I listen to more radio than bother with TV, and being of four brothers who love football, only one of us has Sky TV. So
is that right? That is interesting. I'm clearly
so your figures may be completely wrong.
Maybe I'm living in a sort of cosseted world.
I think you are.
Because
I don't think there's any doubt about
fortunate enough to be able to afford Sky TV, and I'm overlooking the privations of others who can't afford it.
Now, here's one from Mark. Says, will Porky make a bid for MG's house with all that oil underneath it in an attempt to become an oligarch?
Well, is there oil under your house?
Well, I
Is
don't
it
know.
down your way?
Well, I mean, if it's in the southeast, it's presumably in parts of Sussex as well as Surrey, mustn't it?
Do you know what?
I mean, we're not that far from Gatwick.
Could be under my house, because it's these huge deposits of oil. They spread for hundreds of miles.
Yeah, maybe you should buy one of those do-it-yourself drill kits.
Yeah,
and just
why
start
not? Have a
drilling
look.
down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, what you don't want, right, is BP and Esso and all these people coming in. What you want is to have your own little kind of, very little spout of oil coming up.
But anyway, it's
that's how the guys got rich in the Middle East.
What?
They just decided to discover their own oil. They didn't wait for the Americans to come in.
No. The way people got rich in the Middle East was the Americans put in billions of pounds worth of research and development, found out where all the oil was, built all the huge oil exploration derricks and all that kind of stuff, and then the storage, and then successively around the Middle East, dictators took over the countries and seized the oil industry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but they didn't let the Americans just come in and take all the oil out.
Well, they did initially.
Well, no, they didn't. That's how they're so wealthy.
No, what I'm saying is initially, when Saudi Arabia was nothing but sand, and I'm not being dismissive
Well, it was always a kingdom, though, wasn't
it?
it?
Was
but
a kingdom,
the problem in those days was, as we now discover, people are still complaining about, was that there weren't really borders to speak of.
No, that's right. But when the Americans realised there was oil there, they got away with it for about 30 or 40 years by paying them something like, 5 cents a barrel or something like that, and took all the oil out. And then, of course, the second and third generations of Arab dynasties thought, hang on, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And that's why they transformed their countries into the wealthiest in the world, because they suddenly found we own all the oil. So I think we better charge
anyway,
a proper
my
price
advice
for it.
to you, and remember, Mike, you didn't listen to my advice about the roof garden, and you got yourself into all sorts of trouble.
Yes,
listen to my advice about this and get yourself naming rights of your own oil.
Yeah,
before before you get carried away.
I mean, we know that's completely impractical, but there you go.
I don't think it is. Now, a few people have started tweeting in about your nickname.
Oh, yeah.
Some I can't read out. Some
what nickname?
The cat.
Oh, yeah, as a fielder. Yes.
Some people are suggesting that maybe you've misheard them, and it was another word that began with C.
Oh no! This is a family show, and that is really, honestly, a bit despicable.
Well, that could be anything.
I don't go with that at all. I mean, talking about cricket, by the way, and exercise, and the fact that kids can't get it. You've seen the latest report, which says the fattest people in the world are now in Britain.
Oh, yeah? That doesn't surprise
Britain 2015, some of the fattest people in the world live here.
Right.
Britain is one of the... What are you laughing at?
Why does that surprise you?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I've been saying it for months, if not years. Yeah. But I'm delighted now that an official report has come out to actually justify what I'm saying. Britain has one of the worst obesity rates in the world, but it leads global rankings for freedom, universities and fighting crime. Hey,
by the way,
there
was somebody tweeted me. I should find it actually. Somebody tweeted me a report earlier on today, or yesterday, I should say, where Bath University came top of this poll of student satisfaction. I just thought I'd point that out to you.
Yeah, because you went to Bath University.
I did. Trent Polly wasn't anywhere on the list.
University of the Trent, you mean?
Yeah.
Funny enough,
find it on there.
Funny enough, I was doing another job yesterday with Mr. Brazil, and the place where we did it, right, the top man in this place, went to the University of the Trent.
Did he really?
So we had joint alma maters.
And did he go there when it was still called Trent Poly?
No.
Did you have that conversation?
No, he went there when it was the University of the Trent.
No, well,
and he graduated in something good. Now listen, two things here. First of all, the obesity. I'll get back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But when it says we lead the world in fighting crime, I am getting a little bit fed up by the canonisation of these jewel thieves who've got away with up to £200 million worth of jewels.
Well, it's one of those romantic stories,
They
isn't it?
are despicable and disgusting criminals who will cost us all dearly in the long run. And the idea that we should all smirk and say, oh, well, the people who lost the jewels were only rich people, so therefore it doesn't count.
Isn't that partly one of the things that ails this country, though?
I think it's disgraceful.
You know, people who think that robbing from people who are wealthy is okay.
I think
it's nonsensical.
I think it's absolutely disgraceful. Now, I tell you what I really loved watching all the coverage of it. I didn't love anything about the crime. I think the crime's despicable.
Yeah.
But I was waiting at any minute for a Ford Granada to come roaring up the street, and then wheels spinning, and then stop very suddenly. The passenger door flies open, and Jack Reagan leaps out.
Right. Clutching a bottle of whiskey.
And a cigarette. The man from the Sweeney.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd, the flying squad.
Exactly.
And taking charge of the whole investigation. Because, do you know what? If you look at all the details... Here we go. Look, Sweeney, that's what I wanted, yeah. Reagan and Carter.
Yeah.
It's a very Reagan and Carter-esque plot, isn't it?
It is a very similar thing to that, yeah.
Because I can remember one episode of the Sweeney, right, in which they did exactly that.
Right.
I think the jewel thieves have watched the Sweeney,
right,
and they've copied...
Well, maybe they were listening to this show and heard you describing the Sweeney, because, I mean, not a lot of people know about the Sweeney these days, do
Well,
they?
the Sweeney Todd, the flying squad, I don't think they're in existence anymore.
Well, no, they're
it's a
not.
serious crime
but
squad.
I'm talking about the
something.
actual show.
Yeah, but listen, let me tell you about the plot in the show. What happened was, Jack Reagan is called in by his boss, you know, and he's told that he's got to go and rekindle a romance with a lady who's a barmaid.
Oh, yeah.
And lives
I remember this one, yeah.
lives in the top of a pub.
Yeah.
So, and it's on a bank holiday.
Yeah.
And the pub's not open. So he has to, bang on the door and eventually gets in the pub and she says, oh, what are you doing here, Jack, and all that.
Yeah.
Now, the real reason he's there is not to rekindle the romance.
Yeah.
It's because they have intelligence that a gang are going to use the roof of the pub to go across to the building next door, break in through the roof, and go down through the building into the cellar where they're going to go into the basement and then knock through the wall into the bank next door.
Right.
It's an amazingly similar plot to the one that happened in Hatton Garden.
And they were saying as well, one of the reasons why people might not have noticed all the noise that they were making was because of this Crossrail project,
That's right, yeah.
which has been going on for such a long time.
Well, not only that, but also they were lucky the exploding pavement happened in Holborn at the same time.
Yeah.
So everybody said, oh, well, that rumbling, that must be the fire coming up here from Holborn and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
But, I mean, the thing that's amazing as well is that nobody really is being told at this point, anyway, how much has been taken, what exactly has been taken.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know, would you? Because if you had decided, for your retirement to put a few diamonds or something into a strong box and you put it in one of those safety deposit boxes, you don't have to declare to anybody the value of what's inside.
No, but a lot of it isn't insured, apparently, as well.
No, of course it's not insured.
Why would you insure it?
Because it's hot.
Oh, what, you think it's already stolen?
I think it's hot.
Well, if it's already stolen stuff, then why should you be feeling sorry for people getting their stolen stuff stolen?
Because I don't feel at all sorry for villains who've salted diamonds away that have been stolen and have had them stolen. That's called, revenge of the, what is it?
It's called karma, isn't it?
Karma. It's called karma. Karma, chameleon. That's right. But what I'm saying is that...
What are you saying?
Actually, funny enough, on Sky TV today, I saw a load of people being interviewed who'd gone to the bank to find out if their stuff had been stolen, who talked quite openly to the camera and said things like, I've been a jewellery dealer for 30 years in this part of London. That's where I store some of my stuff. Right. It's all gone, and I couldn't get insurance for it because it was so valuable. Right. Now, I feel very sorry for those people. Their businesses have been ruined.
Shocking.
And why anybody would have any sort of romantic notion that these guys who've done all the thieving are Robin Hood-type figures, absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Go off to the Costa del Crime, the Costa what's-her-name, of Brava, and you'll see all these guys lying around in villas, with their floozies next to swimming pools on the proceeds of crime. That, to me, is disgusting.
It is, absolutely. I have to say, I can't disagree with you there.
Yeah.
I finally found this report into Bath University, and it's the reason why it's one of the great places to go, and I'll tell you about it coming up next.
It's because Bath doesn't want its students to do any work. That's why it's a student satisfaction report and not a report about how good Bath University is.
How many years were you
it's because the students are slobs.
How many years were you at Trent Poly before you dropped out?
I didn't complete the course in its entirety, but neither did you at Bath.
Let's talk about this University of Bath study that's come out.
Why are we talking about this? This is largely irrelevant, to be honest.
Well, it's not irrelevant. It's just because you're always going on about the University of Trent, right?
No, I don't always go on about it. You go on about it.
Which you didn't attend, right? Yeah. And you're always making out about how great it was and how wonderful it was, right? Now, all I'm telling you is, and you're always quoting various studies at me, right? So I found one, and I thought, just for a change, I'll quote this study at you.
Okay.
And it is from
But you're only quoting it to me. It is only of any interest to you because you went to this university.
That's true. Yeah.
Supposing it was a report about the University of Kent, you wouldn't be dealing with it.
No, I wouldn't. No, and also if it was about the University of Trent, I wouldn't be dealing with it because you know how many universities are listed in here.
Tell me.
113.
Right.
And do you know where the University of Trent comes?
I don't wish to know.
It doesn't appear.
Right, well, do you know why that is?
Because it's rubbish.
No, this report is about student satisfaction.
Uh-huh.
Right, what do students want when they go to university?
Let me
they want to be idle.
Let me explain.
They want illicit drugs.
Yeah.
They want lots of drink.
So what you did.
Hang on, they want free sex. They want
full sex.
They want a lot of money from the government to indulge in their redolent lifestyles. So I'm sorry, but when you tell me it's a student satisfaction report, I say it's trash.
Well, here's what the measures of the study are, and this is the Times Higher Education Supplement, I'll have you know. The measures include high-quality staff, high-quality lectures, helpful, interested staff, well-structured courses, good social life, good community atmosphere, good environment on campus, and high-quality facilities. And the University of Bath, of course, is very famous for its sporting facilities.
Yeah,
right?
but that includes everything I've just said.
And they come number one. It doesn't say anything about drugs, doesn't say anything about drink,
hang on.
doesn't say anything about the darts team,
Right.
doesn't say anything about dropping out.
It
just says University of Bath.
Read the categories to me again, please, one by one.
Best for industry connections, it says.
Right, read the categories to me one by one.
Measures include, but are not limited to, high-quality staff.
Right, I'll tell you what that means.
Right.
That means lazy lecturers who couldn't care less whether the students turn up or not and spend half their time drunk with their students in the pub trying to pull young women and act like students themselves because they've been students just a few years earlier. Right, what's the second category?
Helpful, interested staff.
Yeah, that again means socialising with the students, going to all their parties, smoking their illicit drugs, cannabis, resin and all this kind of stuff, and not imposing any discipline on the students in lectures.
OK, how about well-structured courses? What does that mean?
Well-structured courses means 1 hour a week and the rest of the time lying in bed, smoking drugs and having illicit sex. That's what it means.
Is this what further education did for you?
This is what it means.
This is obviously the view that you've got of it.
This is what it means. Most students do about 4 hours of work a week. I'm telling you. And that's why we waste hundreds of millions of pounds.
Here's another one. Good social life.
Yeah, well, you know exactly what that means.
Well, it just means that people are nice to you.
No, it doesn't. It means you go to the bank and say, can I have a student loan, please? And they say yes. And then the first 3 weeks of your first term, you spend all that in the pub drinking bombers for £1 a time.
Trying to pick up women
and all that kind of stuff. And then you know what happens? When you eventually finish the course, you say to the government, look, I haven't got a proper job, I'm broke, can I postpone paying it back? And they say yes.
Did you get a grant to go to the University of Trent?
I got a full grant.
Yeah, and what did you do with that money?
I spent it all in the first 3 weeks.
On what?
Drink.
So you're actually talking about yourself here?
Yes, I am, yeah. That's why people should take notice of me.
And when you dropped out of the course?
I'm talking from experience.
And when you dropped out of the course, did anybody ask you for the money back?
No, because in those days...
Did you offer it back?
No, it wasn't a loan, it was a grant.
It was taxpayers' money?
It was taxpayers' money. You got a government grant.
Don't you feel in some way guilty?
No, I don't at all, because it gave me experience of what life is all about, and I turned that experience into my highly successful media career.
I see. How about good community atmosphere?
Well, you see, this is exactly what it is. What that means is we all
There's a pool table.
Yeah. We all get together in the Students' Union, steal all the drink from behind the bar when the barman's not looking, because the barman actually is another student as well, so he turns a blind eye.
Yeah.
So we actually, take all the booze and don't pay for it. Right. We indulge in sex under the pool table in the Students' Union, because that's what people do.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Well, I didn't, but I know people who did.
Well, it's easy for you to get under there, I suppose.
How very funny is that? I'll tell you what, I was at the University of the Trent, right, which was in Nottingham.
You were at Trent Poly.
Well, we won't even bother arguing about that. But what I'm saying is, we only had 2 campuses. We had a big building right in the middle of Nottingham.
It wasn't really a campus, was it?
No,
it was just a building.
Well, it used to be the technical college. You see what I mean? But I mean,
that's what I mean. It's not really a campus.
Yeah, it wasn't a campus. I agree. Yeah. But the University of Nottingham had the best campus outside what you call the of all the red brick universities, right? Of all the red brick, and red brick doesn't include Oxford, Cambridge, or Durham, or London,
or St Andrews,
or St Andrews. That's absolutely right.
Or Glasgow.
Oh, no, I think Edinburgh and Glasgow are red brick.
No, they're not.
But anyway...
They're actually older than anything in England.
So the campus for Nottingham University was just out of town, just down the Derby Road, and it was extensive. It was massive. And they had 12 halls of residence. And every hall of residence had its own bar with its own subsidised drink. Yeah. And we used to do...
Well, that's what you have at university.
We used to do the hall of residence...
Bath University had a subsidised bar.
Right, OK. The hall of residence crawl was, we used to go up there and start in one and finish in the 12th one.
What were you doing up there? You didn't attend that university?
No, I didn't, but we used to go...
What were you going there for?
Well, we used to pretend that we were students from Nottingham University.
It's despicable, isn't it, behaviour?
Yeah. And what we used to do is we used to drink a large Southern Comfort and lemonade in each hall, right? And it used to cost 25p. Yeah. No joke, 25p.
Didn't they ask you for a student card or something?
Yeah, but we had an NUJ card, you see, and they looked the same for the universities and for the Polytechnic.
So just after you weren't even a student then?
Yeah, it was after I wasn't even a student, that's right,
So it means when you were working?
Well, not really, because I only stayed on for a month after I got thrown out. It wasn't all that long a time.
Right.
And by the time you got to the 12th hall, of course, you were insensible in drink. Absolutely insensible.
As in all your stories, basically.
Yeah. We had a friend, he was the only person on our course who had a car. He had a Vauxhall Viva. So on one occasion, instead of going and doing the 12-hall crawl, we short-circuited the whole business by taking his car around the back of one of the halls and stealing a keg of beer. We put it in the boot of his car and took it home.
You've just completely gone through life committing petty crime, taking advantage of those less fortunate than yourselves. Absolutely staggering.
Well, I mean, I have to say,
unbelievable.
It was loose behaviour, but that's what students do.
Now, here's a good one from Mark. Right. Has MG considered returning to complete his course at Bath University?
Good idea.
With all that talk of free sex, smoking and cheap drinking.
That's right, yeah. Well, why not? It's great. But I have to say, Mike, that is such a ridiculous
I just think you're upset
survey.
because your place isn't in it.
No, not at all.
I'll tell you something.
Not
When we were one of the couple of years that I was there, one of the years there was a massive student uprising against foreign student prices. The amount of money that they were being charged to come to university.
What, you're supporting the foreigners?
Yeah, we were. We were saying they shouldn't be charged so much money. It's absolutely disgraceful,
really?
right?
Yeah.
And we decided to occupy the Vice Chancellor's office, right? So
brilliant protest.
I mean, but it was all very, very properly handled, and we informed that this was going to happen. But basically, everybody went to the bar and got completely tanked up, and then marched en masse. There was about 100 of us, and we marched en masse to the Vice Chancellor's office.
Oh yeah, this is great.
And just asked them all to leave, and they did. I mean, there was no kind of nobody kind of tried to stop us or anything.
It wasn't heavy.
And the Vice Chancellor's office was occupied for the whole weekend, and all sorts of horrible atrocities took place in there. I can tell you.
Dear me, I don't wish to know about
I
all
didn't
that.
take part in that, of course.
That's terrible.
But, I was covering it for the local student newspaper.
I very rarely went to a lecture. I used to go into the lecture, and I used to put my books there and sit there for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, you used to go to the pub. You already told us.
I did, yeah, because what you could do is you could duck under the desk because it was like a theatre-style lecture theatre, and with stepped seating and all that, and you could crawl out under the desk, and nobody batted an eyelid, and then you could crawl back 4 hours later when somebody else was in the and just get all your books and just leave.
Yeah,
it was a good system.
Shocking. Liz has said Mr. Parry's a dreadful role model, stealing booze, stealing football tickets, and lies that he went to university, went to a polytechnic. Busted. I think she's falling out of love with you rapidly.
No. I mean, you have to. When I tell the story about the keg, we did return the keg. I mean, it was empty, but what I'm saying is...
Well, there's not much point in returning it empty.
Well, there is, because they're quite valuable, those kegs. They're made of aluminium, and it wasn't like...
When we were living in Bath, because of its proximity to the sort of cider-making business in the industry, right? We used to drive out to these local farms where you could buy a keg of scrumpy for literally 10 quid.
Yeah.
And
how much was in a keg?
I mean, it was enough to last an entire weekend if you were having a party.
56 pints or something?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, it was like a massive barrel.
Right.
And it was real kind of... it was real prachine type stuff. I mean,
right.
If you drank it was so dry that you actually had to drink water alongside it, otherwise you wouldn't actually be able
burn
to...
your mouth.
Well, you couldn't speak because then all the saliva would be sort of sucked out.
I know.
Of it. But it's a fantastic place.
But I mean, all jokes aside, I think that going to university is a very, very wrong move for young people.
I think it has become that.
It has become that because now it's... you see, in my day, because I went to a very good school, Direct Grand Grammar School, it was literally... It was like a production line.
Yeah.
You did your O-levels, you did 11 plus, O-levels, A-levels, university.
Right.
And nobody in between, any of that, ever said, look, is there anything else you want to do? Because if I'd had my choice, I wouldn't have gone to university.
No. You didn't. I mean, you might as well not bother,
exactly.
to be honest.
I totally agree, but I didn't want to go in the first place. But the point, what I'm saying is, as a 17-year-old, there was no mechanism for me to go to somebody and say, look, I don't want to go to university, I want to do something else.
Right.
That would have branded me as a failure, and the school didn't want failures.
Did you have a careers officer at school?
Yeah,
we had one of those.
Yeah, we did.
Completely useless.
Yeah, completely and utterly useless. One guy went to him and said, I want to be an actor.
Yeah.
And that's not the sort of profession that we encourage. You see what I mean? So the idea, you're absolutely right. The role of the careers teacher at our school was to make sure everybody went to university.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, no, ours wasn't even that. I mean, I remember I had a very short conversation with the guy, and he said, how many O-levels are you going to get? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, I'd probably get about 5 or 6.
How many did you get?
I got 5 in the end, I think.
I got 14.
Did you?
I got 14 O-levels.
Just goes to show you what a waste of time they are as well.
I got 14
And all he said
O-levels.
to me was,
Easy.
he said, well, if you don't get 5 O-levels, you'll be a bin man.
Right.
And I said, well, actually, I was thinking about doing that in the West End because at that time,
absolutely.
you know, when you were 16 or 17, if you get a job on the West End bin run,
Right.
it's actually worth quite a lot of money.
Well, yeah, of
but
course
he was
it
so
is.
snobbish about it. I was like, well, what are you going to help me with here?
Yeah.
I said, actually, I'd probably quite like to be a journalist, but I don't suppose you know how I should do that.
I remember saying to somebody at the...
Maybe you should go and give careers advice to journalists. You know,
well, I've
how
been
to
invited
lie,
to.
cheat, and finagle your way to success.
I will go back to the King's School Chester and tell them, if you want to be a success like me, this is how you do it. But, for instance, I said to them once, I said, I quite like, you know, would like to start my own business. And they said, oh, what sort of business? Stockbroking or something? I said, no. I said, a mate of mine has got a job. This is a mate of mine who went to the local secondary model, left at 16.
Right.
So he was 17 then. He just bought his first car.
Yeah.
And I said, and now he's working as an overnight taxi driver with King Cabs in Chester. I said, he's earning £40 a week, which was massive in those days. You know what I mean? Like, you know, ordinary man in the street was earning 25 quid a week or something like that. And they said, yes, but he's got no standing in the society. I said, he's got lots of money.
Yeah.
I said, and he's going out to nightclubs with us and pulling all the birds because he's got loads of money in his pocket, you know, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, his plan is that when he can afford it, he will buy a second car, he'll put a driver in it, and he will rake 50% of the profits of that. And then when he's got enough money, he'll buy a third car. I said, I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
I think this is what... And no, you can't possibly go to the King's School Chester and become a taxi driver.
Yeah.
They're only worried about the reputation of the school.
This is why I can't believe they made someone like you the captain of even the third-string cricket team, because you're not the sort of guy that they want around, really. I mean, you were one of these characters who got in on the basis that you were sort of swept in off with the tumbleweed from the council estate, and they didn't want you there.
Dear me, what a terrible thing to say.
Eh?
What they recognised, Mike, was my powers of leadership, which have been recognised throughout my life, I think you'll find, including inside this building, OK?
Yeah, I know. They've been recognised many times as they've asked you to leave. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes.
Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run.
From the root to the tip.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry. The Porky Quiz is coming up a little bit later on in this hour. The subject matter this evening is Enid Blyton and her collective literary works.
What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry, I don't know why.
Laughing?
I don't know why I keep laughing. It just makes me laugh. Now, I've got a couple of things to talk to you about stuff on the back pages, right?
Right.
Because there's a piece on the back page of the Mirror, and if it wasn't for the fact that I'm looking at a picture of Jose Mourinho, I would have thought it was actually about you. But here's one from somebody...
Right.
Well, wait until I read it to you. Here's one from somebody who's texted in to 81089. Vixie, he says, I used to sell cider for a living. A keg holds 88 pints.
88?
Yeah.
You used to buy it for 10 quid?
Something like that, yeah. It was amazing. Ben in Birmingham says, Mike, I just fell out of bed laughing at Parry having 14 O-levels. Tell him to name the subjects.
I can.
Go on, then.
Right. I've definitely got 14 O-levels.
Yeah, OK,
right.
go on.
OK. English.
Yeah.
Maths.
Yeah.
General studies.
General studies.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's an O-level.
Well, what in, though?
General studies.
Yeah, but what, though?
Well, it's
What, like general knowledge?
I can't tell you, sort of general knowledge type stuff,
What was the pass grade? 3 out of 10?
No. The pass grade was the same as everything else.
All right, then.
So it's English, maths,
3.
general studies,
Yeah.
Social and economic history,
Social and economic history, OK.
the British Constitution,
Yeah.
art.
These are all ridiculous
No,
O-levels.
geography.
Yeah.
That's 7. Maths. No, I've said maths.
You said maths.
That's 7.
Yeah, 7. That's half of them.
Right, hang on. I failed Latin. Hang on. And I failed French. I was no good at languages. In fact, I took the first time
Did you do Latin?
I failed Latin.
You failed Latin.
The first time I took the French O-level, I got a grade 7, which is just a pass.
Right.
So I did an intensive year's study, took it again and got a 9, which is a worse pass. That's the very lowest
Right,
one.
okay.
So I wasn't good at French or Latin.
Right.
So after that, I got, biology.
Biology, right.
Physics.
Right.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, you got chemistry,
Yeah,
blimey.
that's 10.
Yeah.
I got another history one. It was different to social and economic.
Just a regular history.
Yeah, regular history. It was European history, I think.
Yeah.
So that's 11.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to vision. I've got a vision in my head of the school. Music. I've got a music O level. Yeah, got music O level.
How did you get a music O level?
Because
Was it not a practical exam?
No, it was entirely a handwritten thing.
Well, what were the questions?
The questions were about Beethoven and Mozart
Right.
and all
So
that
it
kind
wasn't.
of stuff.
So it wasn't like you were reading music or anything like that.
No, it was about
You can't get a music O level without actually playing an instrument, surely.
Yeah, you can. You can.
Only at the King's School, Chester.
Yeah, no, you can.
All right, that's 11.
That's 11.
12, actually. You've got
that's
2
12.
more to go.
That's 12. 2 more to go.
Was it not English literature and English language?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. English language, English literature.
Yeah, okay.
That's
so
13.
That's 13, so just one more to go. PE, did you get one in PE?
No, they didn't have an O level in PE. If they did, I would have got it because I was good at PE. I used to shimmy up that rope in the gym,
Yeah,
like whatever a good rope climber is called.
An ape.
An ape, yeah, that's right, yeah, an orangutan, yeah, that's right, yeah. And the last one, I know what the last one was.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering now, it's a strange subject. What was it? It was something like...
Orienteering.
No, but it was a weird subject. It was something to... I used to go to the library all the time and read this book on it, and I can't remember what it is now. But it was something like...
to do with estate planning or something?
No, it was lexiconography or something like that.
Lexicography?
Yeah, it was a sort of... It was another maths one.
Oh, right, well, that's not lexicography then.
Isn't it? Is it not?
You're not thinking about trigonometry, are you?
Trigonometry. Could have been something like that.
No level in trigonometry?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Or algebra or something?
Algebra. Could have been algebra.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it looks to me like you've actually got about 9 O-levels.
No.
Doubled all of them up.
No.
You've just doubled them all up.
No.
General studies is rubbish, right? That doesn't count.
No.
English language, English history, I'll let you have that. But you can't have social and European history as well as European history.
Yes, I can, because they're 2 separate papers.
No, you can't.
Let me tell you why. I was so bright that I took 3 O-levels in the year before most normal people take them, when I was 15.
Right, and how many of those did you get?
3.
Really?
3 out of 3.
Right.
3 out of 3, yeah.
Right.
And so the next year...
Gifted, were you?
I was very gifted. And the 3 I took in the first year were... social and economic history.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what the other one was. Have I said British Constitution?
Yeah, you said that.
Oh, right, okay. So I took social and economic history
That
when I was
doesn't count
15.
as an O-level either.
English when I was 15.
Yeah.
And the other one I took 15 was general studies, okay?
Yeah.
And then that meant I could take
still
3
don't know what that
replacement
is.
subjects in the following year.
Yeah.
And that was English literature,
Right.
British Constitution.
Well, you already did that one, didn't you?
Right? No, I
thought you
didn't.
already
No,
done
English and social and economic history. And when I
Have you
did
still got
social...
certificates for all these?
I've got my certificates, yes.
You should bring them in.
I can bring them in.
Yeah, okay.
I've
Bring
got
them
them. In fact, they're somewhere in my sort of...
The locked room.
Not the locked room. I've got a locked room. But they're somewhere in my archives, put it that way.
Yeah.
And I'll find them.
Okay.
I will
Anyway,
find them.
right, let's go back to Jose Mourinho on the back page of the Mirror.
Right.
The headline says, I'm extra special, right?
Yes.
And here's his quote. He says, I have a problem, which is I'm getting better at everything related to my job since I started.
Really?
It's the kind of thing you would say.
No, I wouldn't.
it is.
I wouldn't say anything as pompous and as braggardly as that, to be honest. By the way, it's the National this weekend, of course.
Yeah, it is.
Just touching on it, because when we look at the back pages,
Well,
they've all got
I want to get
a
some tips
sweepstake.
from you before we go this
I'm
evening.
not going to give you any.
Why not?
No.
Loads of people keep saying, by the way, that last year's winner definitely was not wearing blue.
It was.
Well, I've had 2... The body of evidence is growing against you, I'm afraid.
No.
It was definitely not wearing blue. All white with a green stripe.
Oh, well,
and
it
a
might
bit
have
of
been.
yellow.
It might have been the year before. Then might have been the year before.
okay.
But definitely, I won £700. Now, look, if you want to talk about the National now, you want to talk about it later.
No, I want to talk about Jose Mourinho now.
All right, Jason Mourinho. Yeah. Now, I wouldn't say anything as braggardly as that. Honestly, I really wouldn't. But then again, I do believe that people who are as good at their job as Jose is as being a football manager have every right to bang their own drum. Every right in the world. And if they don't, they're failing themselves. That's my view.
I see. And
Right.
what about the Manchester derby? Because while we're on the subject of football, I want to hear, because Wayne Rooney's saying this morning in some of the papers that it's time for United to regain bragging rights.
Yeah, I hate that word bragging rights, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I mean, it's such a cliche now. Oh, who gets the bragging rights on Tyneside or, Merseyside and all that kind of stuff. It's an expression I'm never going to use again because it's so widely used now. What I would say is, who gets the upper hand,
Yeah,
okay?
right.
And I think it'll be Manchester United because I think they're on a roll of self-confidence.
It's hard to see it any other way, really,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and I think Manchester City are on a slippery slope of lack of
Although
confidence.
I did hear Rodney Marsh talking a bit earlier on in the week on TalkSport saying that he thought that Manchester City would come out all
Yeah, I heard
guns
that.
blazing.
I heard that, yeah.
And that might actually mean that they will surprise everybody. But
I
find that hard to believe.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I mean, if you look at the issues, one of them for Manchester City, which is very significant, is the demise of Vincent Kompany, okay?
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, he was an absolute stalwart in the years when they were winning championships, but he isn't anymore. And they've not been able to plug that gap, you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
And I think that is very, very significant indeed.
Right, and they just don't look like a team, do they, in the end?
No.
And Manchester United do. The only I would say, fly in the ointment, actually, is if Robin Van Persie is fit and Van Gaal decides to play him. Because the reason why United have done so well in recent times is because Van Persie was injured and he managed to discover that actually putting Wayne Rooney up front was a better idea.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But he'll start on the bench, won't he? almost certain.
That seems to be what people mostly think.
Even if he's fit. But the other reason I think that United will win it is because they have got what's called the Big Mo.
Yeah.
Now, in America, we used to call the Big Mo the election campaign momentum, and they've got that, and I just don't... the other thing is, Fellaini has suddenly become a terrifically good player because Louis van Gaal has discovered exactly where to play him.
Yeah.
When Manchester United under Davy Moyes were trying to play him as a defensive midfielder, he's such a big man, it was like turning around an oil tanker to get him to respond to a player going past him.
He was always facing the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely right. So
every time he turned around, the ball had gone the other way.
That's absolutely right. And the other reason why I think it'll be Manchester United is because they are, at the moment, 1 point ahead of Manchester City, and I don't think they've got any intention whatsoever of ceding that position.
I think they fancy coming second, actually. United.
They could do. They could do. They're only a point behind Arsenal, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
And yet Arsenal are in the form of their lives. Arsenal really are in the form of their lives. If Arsenal win the FA Cup and come second, then even our good mate Piers Morgan will have to concede that's a pretty good season.
Well, but he's already started saying, memo to Arsenal fans on Twitter, coming second still doesn't mean you've won anything.
Yeah. I think what must be the most frustrating thing for the Arsenal fans is that they do this every year.
Yeah.
After Christmas, they suddenly ratchet up into top gear.
Right.
And if the Premier League was a competition from January the 1st to the end of the season, they'd have won it in the last 3 seasons.
Right. But you think they'd know how to fix that then, wouldn't you?
But then when they start next season, the form escapes them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm saying Manchester United, no reason. It's a terrific weekend because on Saturday, Everton are live on the telly at 12:45, Swansea versus Everton.
Right.
And then I'll watch that probably, with a few friends in a hostelry.
Really?
But then I'll be home for...
Well, where will you be? Down on the coast?
Down on the coast. But then I'll be home at 4:15 for the National with my secret betting system.
With your blue rinse system.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. And then by 5 o'clock, I'll be walking down Gosport High Street, waving fivers around.
Right. Back to the pub?
Sorry?
Well, back to the pub?
Back to the pub, definitely, to celebrate a glorious weekend.
Second round of fish and chips.
Yeah,
What's the time, by the way?
What time is the United and City game?
It's on Sunday.
At what time?
I think it's in the afternoon.
It's 4 o'clock then, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, OK.
Yeah,
well, that's...
Because the early game is Chelsea QPR, I think, which we've got on top.
Of course it is, yeah. And that's going to be a terrific game of football to watch.
Well,
both
4 o'clock.
Both of them are, yeah.
So you can watch both of those. You can have a complete weekend of bladderisation.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
This is Talk Sport. He's Mike Parry. I'm Mike Graham. There is a podcast coming out in about...
that sounded a bit like Marilyn Monroe.
It did a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
breathless
Marilyn Monroe.
sort of...
Bjork. Do you remember Bjork?
Oh, Bjork, yeah, she's Icelandic.
She is,
yes,
indeed.
Iceland's a great country.
Yeah, you've told
I go there all the time.
Before.
It's brilliant.
When was the last time you went?
Well, I don't know the exact date, but recently.
What, within this millennium?
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Anyway, you were going to talk to me about quiet trains. There's a song about silence.
All I was going to say, actually, it's not a huge issue, but it's something I was going to impart into your head, because you go to America a lot.
Yeah.
A friend of mine gone to America and come back, and they got the train, I think it was New York to Washington, D.C., but they got into a quiet carriage thinking that means you can't have your mobile phone ringing and all that kind of stuff. In fact, it was a non-speaking carriage.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? No, that's interesting.
The new quiet carriages now are the silent carriages. You are not allowed to speak. And,
what if the guy comes for your ticket?
Well, I don't know. But the moment she sort of opened her mouth, it was all like in a library, shh, like that. And then, honestly, he was looking around mystified, and then tried to speak again.
That wouldn't be any good for us, would it?
No, it wouldn't be any good for us
at all. We make quite a lot of noise on trains.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've got a new fast train, which I've been on, called the Acela. Maybe that was what.
From where to where?
It goes from Boston to Washington, D.C., basically.
Oh, right, OK.
But it's the new kind of Amtrak Metro liner, but you pay it's all first class, basically.
Yeah, I see, I'd love that.
It's slightly quicker as well.
Yeah, I know, I'd love that. That's fine.
That's fine.
What?
That's fine.
That's good. It's good. I would try that.
Fine.
A couple of years ago, just before the economic collapse, all these airlines started opening up in this country, flying from London City, which were in fact business class only flights to America. I knew a guy that started one
of those companies,
right? And I thought this is
collapsed.
it. This is exactly. This is it. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Getting onto a plane
because it was effectively like a private jet, wasn't it?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Getting onto a plane with people of my quality in their entirety. You know what I mean?
Other people with 14 O levels.
Yeah, okay, if you like it that way. But what I'm saying is, not having to go through the rigmarole of queuing with hundreds of people to get on an aeroplane and wait for them to all sit down before you could get on, get your glass of champagne in your hand and enjoy.
Well, if you're in business, you don't have to do that anyway, though, do you? You can go on ahead of them all.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's the very idea of hauling,
the cattle class behind you.
Well,
You're such a snob, aren't you?
What some would kindly call the great unwashed.
Yeah.
That was an expression, by the way, that was penned first by an American president, wasn't it?
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah,
actually.
it was. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not being unkind. I mean, it's just an expression. I don't mean that people literally don't wash. I'm sure they do. But
you are a terrible snob when it comes to these things.
But what I was going to say is, you're absolutely right in what you just said. That there were about three of them.
Yeah.
They're all competing with each other.
The guy I knew was
collapsed.
running his out of Luton, funnily enough.
Right.
And into Kennedy, I think it was.
And did it start well?
It did start well, yeah. I mean, and it was one of these things, and I think it was something like £1,500 each way,
right?
And you got a proper bed, and it was literally sort of a large Learjet,
right?
And you'd end up, I think, with something like 10 passengers on the plane.
Is it all?
Yeah.
Well, that would be expensive. Now, I want to talk to you about something. You are incredibly rude to me sometimes on Twitter.
You say I'm rude?
Yes, very rude.
I don't think in any way, shape, or form am I as rude to you as you are to me.
If I make a simple spelling mistake, which happens at the volume of tweets that I put out and the rapidity of the way...
Well, let me point out a couple of the mistakes you made most recently.
Right.
You mentioned that Easter Monday was... you were looking forward to a great game of football coming up when it was actually Easter Sunday.
I did,
right?
yeah.
And so you got the day wrong. So I thought I should point out, just in case you were going to get something else wrong about the day, that you should remember it was
But my
only
life
Sunday.
is so fast-moving, I'm sometimes ahead of myself, that's all.
And then you then promoted the Ask Porky, saying that I always look forward to a Monday night when we do Ask Porky, and in fact it's a Tuesday night that you do that. So
I realise that now.
Getting a bit muddled up. So I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah, but it's not helping me out when you correct me, which I'm grateful for. That's fine. But at the end, you put #plank. Okay.
Right.
So I'm now going to frighten you to death by showing you this.
What's that?
It's a new form of exercise called planking.
Oh, planking.
Right.
Wasn't this the thing they used to do when people were shown sort of taking pictures of themselves doing this out in the streets and things and lying on top of buildings? That was called planking. I'm sure it was.
No, that was lying prostrate on the top of a desk or something like that.
Even?
But this, I tell you what this is. Do you know where they got the idea for this?
I don't know. It looks like a press-up.
From the prisons of North Korea.
Really?
Yeah. It is so painful to do.
Right.
And what you basically do is you lie on the floor.
You rest on your tiptoes and you lie horizontal.
And your elbows.
And your elbows.
And a normal person can't do it for more than about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But in the prisons of North Korea, when you have sinned against the great leader and the state, you are made to do it for hours on end.
Really?
And if you try to...
Have you tried it?
Of course not.
No.
And if you try to ease the bodily pain by releasing yourself back onto the floor, you get immediately the cattle prod in a very sensitive part of the body. and then you have to get up on your elbows again. It is incredibly painful.
It does look quite difficult.
Now, what I'm going to suggest is that you accept my challenge, that we will do this on video next week and see who survives the longest.
Okay.
Right?
I don't mind that.
Yeah, okay?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
You see,
I'm
you don't
up
know what
for
you're
that.
letting yourself in for.
Well, I mean, I know that if you're doing it something that far in advance, you'll have some horrible scheme up your sleeve to cheat.
No,
You'll stick like iron rods down your shirt or something like that, so you can hold yourself up.
No,
you will, because cheating is in your DNA.
I won't, but I'll be training over the weekend.
You couldn't lie straight in bed.
I'll be training over the weekend.
Really?
Now,
by the way, the Great Unwashed, I'm told, was coined by Victorian playwright Edward de Bulwer Lytton.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I knew that.
Did you?
But it was first.
Was he ever president of the United States?
No. But it was first picked up by an American president who
Roosevelt, or maybe something like
Roosevelt, something like that, who read what he wrote and thought that was a great expression to use for the masses of the people. Okay. Now, because time is going to be short tonight, because I'll be doing my quiz next.
Yes.
We are going to talk about the Grand National, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah.
You want to do that now?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because let me tell you, I've got it in front of me, the colour chart. Okay.
I've got a colour chart in front of me.
Right. You got a colour chart?
Yeah.
Right, so let me count the number of horses which I'm going to have to bet on this year because their jockeys are riding in blue silks, okay? In fact, I can't see one. That's funny. Oh, here we go.
There's loads of them in blue.
No, but I can't do it if there's red also. I'd never bet on a horse whose jockey's silks are red. So
how about Corrin Wood? That looks like blue and green.
Right, well, hang on. If you look at the bottom here, I've got Caught by Surprise, Alvarado, Sol, they're all blue.
Alvarado's purple, isn't it?
Well, it's blue as far as I'm concerned. It's got light blue in it as well as dark blue. That means royal blue in the middle.
Alvarado's purple and pink. Which paper are you looking at?
I'm looking at the spread here on the Grand National pullout from the Daily Mail.
Oh, I've got the mirror here. So,
right.
See, the trouble is they print in different colours.
They do. River Choice is another one in blue.
That's blue, with a star.
But that's 100 to 1, unfortunately.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Well, 100 to 1 horse.
100 to 1's the kind of horse you want to bet on.
The only time 100 to 1 horse won was Foynehaven, wasn't it? When all the others piled up against the hedge. Don't remember, and it came round the back.
But it can happen.
Yeah, it can happen. So I'm going to now Corrin Wood. You're absolutely right. 66 to 1. River Choice 100 to 1. But then Sol, SOLL, 20 to 1.
Yeah.
Alvarado 20 to 1. Excuse me.
So you're going to be all right. You're going to last for the Grand National.
I'm not sure.
Rocky Creek you can't do because it's blue, but it's got red and white hooped armbands.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
It's actually there's not many blue horses here.
Well, Spring Healed at 22 to 1 passes the blue test because there's yellow in it, and that is sometimes my team's second colours, blue and yellow.
So you're okay with yellow?
Yeah, I'm okay with yellow. But not with red. And it's not because I'm being anti-Liverpool or anti-Manchester United or anything. Red is just not my colour.
How about Bob Ford? That looks like blue and white stripes.
Bob Ford, let my
That's another 100 to 1.
Gaze onto that one. I can't see a horse here in blue and white stripes.
Number 28.
Number 28? No, I can't see it. It's not in my list here.
Well, why don't you look between 27 and 29?
Because they're not listed in numerically on this one.
Well, you should be looking at it in the mirror then.
Right, well, hang on. 20. No, I can't see a horse in blue and white stripes.
Bob Ford.
Mate. Bob Ford?
Yeah.
No, in my horse, that's running in red.
In your horse?
My chart, Bob Ford is running in red.
Well, I've got blue and white stripes here.
Well, look, we've got to compare these because they can't both be right.
No.
Bob Ford at 80 to 1.
Yeah, I got Bob Ford at 100 to 1.
Yeah.
Here.
What's the colours?
There, blue and white.
Well, that's ridiculous because
I wouldn't go with the males one. I think it's best for horse racing, to be honest.
You think they're the best?
I would go with the mirror on horse racing.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, what are you going to do betting wise?
Well,
what's your system?
My system is that I get my kids to bet basically, and my youngest son is actually very, very, very good over the years at picking either a winner or a place, and they basically just either do it because they like the colours or because they like the name. Yeah. The only horse I'm interested in really is the Druid's Nephew because Mr. Brazil gave me that tip this morning. Or yesterday morning, I should say.
What's it called? The Druid's Nephew?
The Druid's Nephew. But you won't be able to put that one on because it's running in red.
Right.
Red and white.
Right, okay.
So he thought that was rather good.
Okay. The duel of the Grand National is that the outsiders do win. Well, that is the case, isn't it? That's the case.
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much point. If Shut the Front Door is a massive favourite,
there's
not a lot of point and maybe put a bit of money on it, but I wouldn't say there's much point.
What colours is that running in?
That's green. That's green and yellow, but it looks like green and white.
Green and yes, 7 to 1.
Number 7.
7 to 1. Jockey AP McCoy. Those are the colours, aren't they, of JP McManus?
Yeah, I think so.
Aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
You're riding for him. There's great racing stories tonight, wasn't there? About some jockey who's become the stable jockey for the stables run by Aidan, what's his name?
Aidan, what's his name?
You know, the world's top trainer who's won the Derby for the last 3 years or 4 years or something. Yeah. Aidan, what's his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about.
Ruby Walsh's guy.
Do I mean Ruby Walsh's guy?
Aidan O'Brien.
Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Well, he can't be Ruby Walsh's guy if he's just appointed a new jockey, can he?
I wouldn't have thought so.
You should get these things straight before you make statements like that. You know what I mean?
I rely on you to tell me about my horse racing now.
At the moment, it's Aidan O'Brien's son who's the stable jockey.
Is it?
But for some unknown reason, I think he's got too old or too big or something,
right.
And they've got a new jockey. That's what I'm told, anyway.
Oh, okay.
Font of information,
all right.
mate.
Well, thanks for the tips. Anyway,
okay.
You haven't given me anything at all that I can use.
Well, why should I give you my tips? All that will do is, particularly as millions of people are listening, they'll all cotton on and think, the Porkmeister has some secret information.
I thought you'd like to help people.
Hang on, secret information.
You've seen the time.
They will all then go and put money on it. The price will go down.
Yeah.
I won't be walking down Gosport High Street on Saturday night waving my fivers around.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's a price worth paying. Yeah. He's Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. Coming up, it's the Porky Quiz.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. Talk Sport.
We are the famous five. Julian, Dick and Anne, George and Timmy the dog. We are the famous five. We're coming back to you whenever there's time after time.
It is that time of the week when it's time for the Porky Quiz. We've done quizzes on all manner of things. We've done geography, we've done history, we've done, song titles, we've done ABBA, we've done incredible different kinds of quizzes. The first time we've ever done one on Enid Blyton, which is what you asked for, okay?
Well, of course it is. We don't do a quiz on the same subject twice, so that's why I'm innovative about the subjects on which I am prepared to be tested.
But we've never ever sort of alighted on such a children's subject, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. So hopefully you'll do better than you normally do. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not going to rise to that provocation.
Well, it's a children's book author we're talking about here.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so why does that make it either odd or prohibitive to an adult?
It just makes
Because
it
we were
odd.
all children once. We were all children
We
once.
certainly were. You were a very odd child.
No, I
weren't you?
wasn't. No, I was
Yeah,
not
you
at
were.
all.
Anyway, let's get on with it.
Okay.
If you hear, if you get one correct,
Right.
you will hear this sound.
You deserve it, George. You couldn't have done better if you'd been a boy.
Oh, excellent. You'll hear a lot of that.
And if you get it wrong, you'll hear this.
I think it's a downright shame.
You won't be hearing much of that.
Okay. You ready for question 1?
Yes, I am.
Where was Enid Blyton born?
She was born in... let me just think. She was born in... Certainly in England. What are you laughing at?
Yeah. Can
What?
you be a bit more specific?
Well, you know, some of these authors are born in places like India.
Yeah, like Rudyard Kipling. you mean?
Yes, exactly, yes,
It's
yeah.
not about Rudyard Kipling.
Right, okay. I think she was born either, and I'm thinking aloud now, thinking
Okay.
aloud,
Let me know when you stop thinking aloud.
either in the Isle of Wight or in the Lake District. I'm going to go for Lake District.
Incorrect.
I think it's a downright shame.
She was born in East Dulwich in London.
East Dulwich?
Yeah.
It's not a very glamorous place to be born,
Well,
is
that's
it?
quite nice. Number 2, how many copies of her books have been sold worldwide?
Millions.
Hey?
Millions.
Are you thinking aloud?
No.
Is that your answer?
Well, you said how many copies of the books.
How many copies?
Do you want me to be more specific?
I would like you to be... give me a number, yes.
Okay. Now, up to when?
To now.
Up to now?
Yeah.
Up till now, right. Does it include the Noddy titles?
How many copies of her books have been sold worldwide?
The answer to that is 80 million.
Incorrect.
I think it's a downright shame.
No, it's not incorrect. It depends which category of books you're talking about.
600 million.
600 million.
Yeah.
But that's, I see.
That's all
Okay.
of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, well...
I mean, if you were close to it, I would have given you. No, I mean, I can't give you from 80 to 600. That's ridiculous. Question number 3.
Right.
You should get this one.
Right.
Noddy first appeared as a cartoon strip in which publication?
that would have been the... Now, I'm thinking aloud here.
Okay.
It's either the Sunday Pictorial, which became the Sunday Mirror, or it's the Daily Mirror. I'll go for Daily Mirror.
Well, I don't know. I've got the Sunday Graphic here.
Yeah, Sunday Graphic, that's it.
I'm tempted to give you that.
Yes, thank you.
Even though it's
Thank you.
really... I'm probably going to regret
No,
doing that.
you're not. You're not. It's part of the same newspaper group.
Sunday
it's called
Graphic,
IPC.
and also the Evening Standard in 1949.
The Evening Standard, exactly.
All right,
I
I'll give you
remember
that one, okay?
Excellent, excellent.
Okay, question number 4.
Hey,
You
the
deserve it,
breakthrough.
George. You couldn't have done better if you'd been a boy.
Excellent.
All right, the next one. The 5 Find Outers series included a character called Fatty. What was his real name?
The 5 what?
The 5 Find Outers series.
I don't know the find out bit. Was it the famous 5?
No, the 5 Find Outers. There was 15 books written.
No. It was called the
including a
famous
character
5.
called Fatty.
There was famous 5. I don't know who the find outers are. I've
5
never
Find
heard of them.
Outers were different.
They weren't written by Enid Blyton,
Yeah, they were.
as far as I know.
Yeah, they were.
Well, if they were, and there was a guy called Fatty,
Yeah.
Fatties in Enid Blyton's books
Yeah.
were always usually had the name of John.
Incorrect.
I think it's a downright shame.
The initial spelt Fat, and that was why he got his nickname. His
Well-
real name was Frederick Algernon Trottville.
That's a impressive name.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Question number 5.
Right.
What was Enid Blyton's first book?
Her first book.
Yes.
I know what that is. It was a Noddy book, and it was something like Noddy Goes on Holiday. What are you
I
laughing
think
at?
it's a downright shame.
No, it wasn't.
What are you laughing at?
It wasn't. It was called Child Whispers. It was a collection of poems published in 1922.
Well, that's not a book.
That's her first book.
No, that's a poetry publication.
her first
What about
book.
her first book? Her first book was
That
on
was
Noddy.
that was her
That
first
was not
book.
her first book. That
Yeah,
was a
it was.
collection of poems. That is not a book. When we talk about Enid Blyton, we talk about a book. We're talking
Yeah.
about a story.
That was a book.
There was not a story in it.
Well, there was a book.
No,
of stories.
no,
a book of poems.
no. That's you've cheated me there. That's,
What was her first book?
that was not a book.
Question number 6. What were the names of the Secret 7?
You have a look and see if there is a Noddy Goes on Holiday, and you'll find it was her
I
first
haven't
book.
got time to do that.
Steady on you two.
Right, what
This
was the
has been,
question?
the next question, which if I were you, I would concentrate on. What were the names of the Secret 7?
What, you mean all 7?
Yes, all 7. I'll tell you what. If you get if you get me the majority of the 7,
Right,
I'll give you
okay.
a point.
Right, Mary, Jane, Sarah, Tom, Bob, Millie, Danny, Dave. What do you,
haven't got it. You haven't got any of them right, and you've named 8 people.
This is a trick question, obviously.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give you incorrect for that one.
I think it's a darn right shame.
You could have had, I can barely read this now, the tears going over. I've got Peter, Janet, Jack,
Janet. I
Pam,
said Janet, I think.
Barbara, Colin and George.
I'm sure I said Janet.
Do you remember the name of their dog?
The dog, Blackie.
Incorrect.
I think it's a darn right
What's the
shame.
name of the
It's
dog?
called Scamper.
Scamper.
Do you know anything about Enid Blyton?
Yeah, of course I do. That's
You've
why
got
you
1
tested me
out
on
of
it.
7 so far. Question number 8. Which series of Enid Blyton books was set in a girls' boarding school?
Oh, now it was about 2 girls at the school, right?
I don't know. I haven't read
Yeah,
it.
it was. Yeah, and so it was called something like Susan and Mary go on. Go boarding. No, you know what I mean? Like,
I think that was something else.
No,
I think it's a darn right shame.
No, it was about a boarding school, and they liked horses. It was something to do with horses.
Right.
Yeah. So it was. I think it was called. It was called the name of the school. It was something like Hatton Towers or something.
Now, yeah, you're onto something now.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you half a point
Oh,
for that.
great.
You deserve it,
Great.
George. You couldn't
Mallory
have done
Towers,
better
it's
if you'd
Mallory
been a
Towers. I
boy.
knew it was something like that.
There
you
you
see?
go.
There you go.
The heroine is Daryl Rivers.
Yeah.
And the 6-book series was written between 1946 and 1951.
There you go.
I'm told the first Noddy book was in 1949, by the way, so it was quite long after she started writing books.
I don't think so.
Question number 9. So you've got 1.5 out of 8.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I think you're doing brilliantly.
Right.
Question number 9. Which book do we meet Silky, Moonface and Saucepan Man?
Ooh, silky, saucepan man.
Yeah.
See, that if I didn't know better, I'd say the Yellow Brick Road, but she didn't write that. That was
What are you thinking about The Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz. That's right. Yeah. Right. So it's not the Secret Seven. I'm thinking aloud
No.
now. Not the Famous Five.
I shouldn't answer you.
Not Mallory Towers. So is it something to do with? So it must be another collection of children, some other secret club, I suppose. Saucepan Man? No, I think it's a fantasical one. So
Yeah, you're on the right track.
yeah, I know.
You're
I
on
am.
the right
Yeah,
track.
fantastical. It's something like her version of sort of Alice Through Looking Glass type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's something like Down the Rabbit Hole or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. No. Why can't you take this seriously?
I just can't.
Right.
It's Magic Faraway Tree
Well, there you go. You see.
is the answer.
Well, I
I think
deserve
it's a
half a
darn
point for
right
that.
shame.
Definitely.
You want half a point for
Yes,
that?
definitely. Yeah.
I'll give you half a point for that. All right. Okay, that's 2 out of 10.
That's a breakthrough. That's
Now-
2 out of 9.
2 out of 9, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's because I'm assuming you won't get the last one right.
Oh, really?
Question number 10.
Right.
Who played Enid Blyton in the BBC film Enid in 2009?
Oh, that's interesting. Let me see. 2009. That's 6 years ago.
Very good.
I
Not giving
reckon.
you anything for that.
Is it a very popular actress?
Why are you asking me a question?
Well, because it's called Direction.
no, it's somebody who's never acted before and or since.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, of course it's not.
Of course it's ridiculous.
But you can't ask me a question. That's not how the quiz
I
works.
think it was Helen Mirren.
Incorrect.
Really?
I think it's a darn
Well,
right
it should have been
shame.
Helen Mirren. She'd have done a great job. She's a great actress.
She would have done, yeah. It was
Yeah.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Well, you see, I knew it was
Well,
Helena, so I
yeah.
get half a point for that as well.
It's not Helena Mirren, is it?
Well, I got the first 5 letters of her name
Yeah.
right.
Well,
so
what do you want a point for that as well?
Yes, I do,
You're not
yeah.
getting it, no.
No.
I'll give you 2 out of 10, which is precisely what I said you would get.
it's a
See,
bit
I'm getting
mean.
good at this.
Bit mean.
To be fair, you should have even got 2. You should have got 1.
no, that's
That's
not,
one of
no,
the worst
no.
performances of all time.
Well, I have been busy this week, and I
Yeah.
wasn't able to over-research,
Right.
which I normally do.
Yeah, but you've read all these books that you told me.
Well, yeah, I know I read them all, but I read them all 50 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
So that was a
What was your
difficulty.
favourite, by the way?
A favourite? It was the one about the Secret Seven discovering a German submarine in a lock in Scotland. Remember that one?
No, I never read any of
I
them.
don't know how the submarine got there, because I found out later that locks are land-bound, aren't they?
Well, no, they're not. No, I mean,
You can't get out to the sea, can you?
No, Loch Long is where the Trident missile submarine base is based.
Fast Lane?
Yeah.
Oh,
Fast
there you
Lane's
go.
up
Must
in
have
the
been
loch.
there. Must have been there, then.
Some of the locks are landlocked, but
Yeah.
many of them
Yeah.
you can get out to sea.
Yeah, well, that's they were spies.
Because that was where they
for the
crashed
government.
one as well. Do you remember? They crashed
Yeah,
one into the side of the loch.
When he was trying to turn it round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
There
See
we
what
go.
crashed the other day, by the way, and it's going to cost £500,000 and take 3 months to repair it.
Yeah.
All because, allegedly,
Yeah.
but we don't know the true story, it hit a flow of ice as it was surfacing in the North Atlantic.
Right.
But it is believed, because of course I have access to my friends
Naval
in
Intelligence, yeah. Are they coming to the show in Portsmouth, by the way?
I don't know. And if they do,
in disguise.
I was going to say if they do, they won't be introducing themselves as Naval Intelligence.
No.
But it is not believed, but it is being rumoured or discussed that they may have surfaced underneath another ship.
Oh,
That's how
really?
they damaged the submarine.
Ah. Well,
But that's only a theory. I'm not saying that happened.
No,
you know?
we'll get more detail on that once you talk to your contacts over the weekend.
Yes.
He was Mike Parry getting 2 out of 10 there. Miserable performance on Enid Blyton. We'll come up with something else for next week. Loads more to come.
An anthem
election.
to...
You think
No, became an anthem to...
Schools Out.
Schools Out, became an anthem to a generation...
Well, he made a lot of good albums,
I think it was when I was 15, you know. Well, what is it? Well, we got no time for the boys or girls.
Schools Out for summer.
Schools out.
We've managed to go all the way through,
summer.
and you haven't sung. Because, you know, somebody actually sent me this picture
Oh,
on Twitter, which I should now hold up to you because it's. I meant to hold it up to you earlier.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all about no singing. And they said, please, can you hold this up when Porky starts singing? There you go. Like that.
Right, I like that.
It's quite
Singing
good, isn't it?
band, yeah.
Singing band.
Well, I sing sometimes because people like it. It livens up their evening, believe
true,
me.
yeah.
Listen, that song was about what?
Poison.
Poison, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. There's most extraordinary cases going on at the General Medical Council in which a professor, a guy called Professor Pickett, who is an expert in maxillofacial surgery, right?
What kind of facial surgery?
Maxillofacial surgery, yeah.
Sounds
yeah.
like a brand name,
It
doesn't
does actually, yeah, but he's...
It's not something you buy in a supermarket.
That's right. He's an expert in maxillofacial surgery. And the reason there's a GMC inquiry, you've got to be quite careful because the inquiry's still going on, is there's an allegation...
I don't think you can influence a GMC inquiry.
No, you can't. No. There's an allegation from a witness to one of the operations he was performing that when he couldn't get a metal plate into the face of a man who'd been badly damaged on one side of his face, he just repeatedly punched the patient time and said, bang, get into plate, on that plate, And this is the allegation,
Presumably he wasn't in the operating theatre on his own, was he?
No, this is the point. Apparently, the witnesses to it, the evidence says the case is not centred around the outcome, so apparently the plate eventually got into place all right, but the method of the surgery, by way of the extraordinary allegation from witnesses that he repeatedly punched the patient in the face. I mean...
there's a certain...
To such an extent, the patient fell out of bed.
Right.
Which further displaced his facial features. So this professor, who's trying to mend some patient's face on the operating table, but starts giving him that. Go in.
Did it work, though?
No, he knocks him off the operating table onto the floor and further damages his face.
Oh, dear.
That's the allegation, anyway.
But I mean,
Terrible.
I don't know whether you've been spent some time in hospitals. You do see some strange things going on. I mean, when I broke my wrist playing football years and years ago, the only way they could get it, I don't want to upset anybody listening to this, but I broke the sort of the semicircular bone that goes across your wrist, which is like the worst kind. And the only way that they could get it to get back into place, right, was to give me a local anaesthetic, which they made, so they made my arm completely numb. Yeah. And I thought the guy's going to kind of, manipulate it slowly. And what he did was, and this was at the Royal Free up in Hampstead. Right. And he was in the place on his own. I was kind of lying, sort of, but sitting up on this.
How did you break your hand again?
Playing football.
Right.
I went over it, I landed on it, played five-a-side
horrible,
football.
yeah.
But we'd been drinking as well, so it wasn't a very good idea.
How old were you at this time?
I was about 40, I think.
Oh, I see. I thought it was a childhood injury, but it's
not.
No,
This was when I was playing for the Express. We used to play five-a-side football over at Spitalfields.
Good God!
And we were good actually. We did well. That was around the same time we won the Littlewoods Fleet Street competition at
Wembley. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm expecting this guy to sort of come and talk to me about how he's going to manipulate gently, the bones back into shape and everything else. Instead, what he did was he put his foot up on the table and just wrenched it. Literally pulled as hard as he could on my arm, so that he could pull it kind of out of whatever it was that it was stuck in. Ugh. And I'm looking at him thinking, this is not the act of a surgeon, this is the sort of act of a madman.
Yeah, this is what
I would do.
What would you call it? Like these guys who went around in the Wild West claiming they was
like pulling your kind of bones.
The medicine man. Yeah,
and he literally just put his foot up again, and got himself, a good sort of grip of
but
my
wrist.
But
did he mend it?
Yeah, he fixed it. Yeah.
So he was right in what he did, then?
He was very right in what he did, but it was rather scary at the time, because I thought, well, this doesn't look like the way you should be doing this.
No, exactly, yeah.
I'd had it in a cast for 24 hours.
I totally agree.
And I thought to myself, well, surely, in order for him to get it back to where it should be, they're going to have some device to use, they're going to put it into a machine, but instead he just wrenched the hell out of it.
Yeah, well, that's...
And you know what? It was the worst pain I've ever felt after the anaesthetic wore off.
Right.
It was after the anaesthetic wore off.
Why?
Well, because he'd literally been wrenching my bones back into place. And I remember standing outside the hospital.
What happened when the anaesthetic wore off?
It was the most painful thing I've ever felt, ever.
So the aftershock, the pain was like worse than before.
And I hadn't had a chance to get to the chemist to get any painkillers around me. And I was in absolute agony. It was in such agony I felt I might have to lie down on the pavement while I was waiting to be picked up and taken home.
I had the same experience once, not with an arm, with a dentist pulling a tooth out of my mouth.
Right.
He, in the end, he literally
Did he put his foot up on the thing?
He stood on the chair.
Right.
He stood. He
It's a
stood
bit
on the
unnerving,
chair,
though,
and he's over me, and he's got the pliers in my mouth, and he's literally, and he was getting so frustrated with himself that he couldn't get. What had happened is the tooth had snapped off, so there wasn't much left, you know. To
You're lucky you didn't have that other guy. He could have been smashing your face.
Exactly. Smash your jaw, knock it out. You know that could have happened, but it, you know. Although you say that was inappropriate, what he did...
I'm not saying that. I just was rather shocked that was his method.
I totally agree with you, but in the end, there was no other way to get my tooth out of my mouth. The only other way to have done it was, and he said to me after it, he said, if I hadn't done that, he said, you would have to gone into hospital and literally...
They've had to cut it out.
Some guy would have arrived with the equivalent of a hacksaw, and they would have had to cut it out.
Right.
And, you know, and that would have been a long-term debilitating... Now, I want to talk to you about your dog. Because I'm always going on about your dog, because you don't see enough of your dog. I think your dog's lonely.
His dog, he was so happy to see me today, though. Yesterday.
Well, I'm sure he was, because he's been away, hasn't he?
He's been on holiday.
But, you know,
I'm here working, and he's on holiday. Who's got the best end of the deal?
Got time, poor little thing's lonely. Now, the reason I'm
not very little,
I'm talking about this is I've got a thing on my computer,
Have you?
which goes ping whenever there's a new report about dogs and that. Yeah, ping.
Is that called
ping.
an alert?
It's an alert.
Yeah.
And it keeps me right up to speed with what's going on.
Have you been getting any of those viruses lately?
No, I don't get
Maybe
viruses.
you should get something that goes ping when you get a virus.
I don't get a virus.
On your computer, I'm talking about.
Oh, right. No. I hate it when that happens, because...
You haven't had one for a couple of weeks now.
No. I'll tell you what I got the other day.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting, actually. During the course of business, I was expecting somebody to transfer me some money.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a couple of days late,
Right.
and I thought, I didn't know where he'd gone. So then...
I got into that missing bank account in Halifax.
Well, maybe, yeah. So then I got an email saying, your money has been transferred. And I thought, oh, brilliant, right? And actually what happened was I didn't have time to sort it out.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, at least it's there.
Right.
And I closed my computer down at home, the laptop.
Yeah.
And then I was out and I got my information device out of my pocket when I was on the train and looked at it. And I thought, I'll open it. I tried to open it, it wouldn't open.
The email.
The email wouldn't open. But I was very, very lucky because when I got back home and then the following morning opened it, there was clearly something extremely dodgy. It wasn't the money I was expecting anyway.
Oh, it was just from some random...
It was a random spam.
Right.
And funny enough, I spoke to somebody else about it and they said, it's a good job you didn't open it. If you'd have opened that, it would have accessed...
It would have been like a worm.
Yeah, that's right, something like that. And so you've got to be very, very careful about these things, haven't you? But the reason why I nearly got fooled was because I was expecting money. And this said, your money has now been transferred.
I'm amazed you don't get fooled more often, to be honest.
So am I, because I'm not too good on technology. Now, listen, the old dog report,
Yeah,
the
what
ping
about the dog report?
Right, more than 10,000 dogs a year are poisoned after eating everyday items such as paracetamol and chocolate in the home.
Yeah, true. Very true. You've got to be very careful what they eat.
Kennel Club, this is an official report from the Kennel Club, says seemingly harmless foods such as hot cross buns, right?
Right.
And remember, my house has just been full of hot cross buns, which I've given away.
I wouldn't give a hot cross bun to the dog.
Well, people do. They just break the bed off and say,
you have to be really careful.
Right, hot cross buns.
You can't give them anything with raisins in.
Right, onions.
Yeah, onions you can't give them.
You can't give them onions.
No. Do you know something as small as about 25 grams of onion could kill a small dog?
Well, I was going to say, can literally be killers.
Right.
And
so you can't give them anything that's got onion in it either. So, like, for example, if you made some spaghetti bolognese, you couldn't give them it because it's got onion in it.
Now, you see, that is so interesting because dogs love a bit of mince, don't they? A bit of meat and all that kind of stuff. But if there's an onion in it, you're saying... I didn't know that.
I couldn't.
I really didn't know that.
We're very careful.
I really didn't know that. Right, how about this? 56,000 dogs were treated for poisoning between 2010 and 2014. According to official figures published by Veterinary Poison Information Services.
Right.
And of those, 470 dogs were fatal, died.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've got to be so careful. I mean, funnily enough, chocolate is something you're not supposed to give dogs, but they could actually eat, they could eat more chocolate accidentally than they could onions, and they'd be all right.
Right.
But the onion is absolutely a killer.
Right, and it says the most common cause of poisoning in the home are painkillers.
Yeah, because people just drop them on the ground.
And the dog eats them up and can be fatal. But also, you've got to be incredibly careful if you are laying traps to try and trap rats or mice.
Yeah.
Because the rat and mouse bait, and it also puts chocolate into this category, can cause sickness, diarrhea, fits, and trigger terrible heart problems for your dog.
Right.
Dark chocolate is particularly toxic.
Yes.
And it goes on to say what you've just said here. Sultanas, these are the most damaging foods. Grapes, raisins, highly dangerous to dogs.
Yeah,
because
terrible.
it causes their kidneys to fail.
That's right. They can't digest them.
Even dried forms of it found in cakes.
Yeah, but I mean, at our house, the biggest worry is not just because we're pretty good at not letting stuff drop on the floor and letting them eat it. But I told you the story of how he swallowed a sock.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So,
and it lodged in his tummy.
Because he's a Labrador, will basically eat anything.
Yeah, they cost the
you just have to be so careful. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, look, you know what? I sometimes wonder why blind dogs are so often Labradors, because a blind person can't see what his dog's getting up to.
Right.
And people like me, foolishly, we had a chap here, Sean, he's a reporter on Sky now, and I loved his dog. It was called Chip.
Yeah.
And I foolishly, because I thought I was, wanted to be the dog's friend and all that kind of stuff.
Of course, you were ingratiating yourself with the dog.
I used to, whenever I went shopping, seriously, whenever I went shopping, for my own stuff, I always went down the dog section, I didn't have a dog, and I used to buy, packets of those chewy things.
Right.
And
well, those were okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but not in the volume I was giving them to the dog.
Well, how many were you giving him?
About 12 a day.
Really?
Yeah, because he liked them, and I thought
he threw up on Alan Sugar.
Well, that's right. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Unfortunately, that happened. But yeah, no,
that was great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but what happened was every time Sean came through the door. The dog was let off the lead. It came bound. It used to jump over desks.
More
to get
often
to me.
than not, used to have diarrhea as well. It's probably down to you.
No, well, anyway, but to get to me as quickly as possible, it used to leap over desks, knock things all over the place. Completely lost its discipline as a guide dog. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And came bounding over and with its paws on my shoulder. And I thought the dog just liked me because I was incredibly popular, like I am with human beings.
Yeah.
But in fact, of course, the truth of the matter is, he associated me with food.
Well, you can bribe anybody. I think is the answer to that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, that is the problem.
And so it broke my heart when Chip died and another dog came along. But then I had to be so rigidly disciplined, I refused to even pat the dog. I said, no, I became a friend of your predecessor and, I loved him to death because I gave him too much food. You're getting nothing. And the dog hated me.
Yeah.
So where's the median with your relationship between humans and dogs? They either love you when you feed them or they hate you when you don't.
Yeah.
I'm now hated by canines.
Stick to trying to work out women. I think that would be the easiest, best advice I could give you.
Well, I've been trying to do that for the last 50
Speaking of which,
years.
one of your admirers has tweeted in. Jackie says, a doctor in Hampstead put his sweaty foot in my armpit and yanked my dislocated shoulder back into place once.
God.
No anaesthetic. Must have been the Hampstead method.
It must be the Hampstead
Must
method.
have been. Now,
most people in Hampstead are on LSD, aren't they, and all this kind of stuff.
Well, that's where I grew up.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's
what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
they wouldn't allow you into Hampstead. You're too much.
No,
I'm
I'm not hippie enough to
no, you certainly are. No, you're too
people
square.
go wandering across off Hampstead.
Seen the time, by the way.
Hallucinogenic drugs in their head.
Yeah,
and,
I think somebody gave those to you as a child.
And wreck society.
Trying to make friends with you. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. Look at the light. Don't forget to follow the Two Mikes at the Two Mikes on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mikes TV.
Well-structured courses means 1 hour a week and the rest of the time lying in bed, smoking drugs and having illicit sex. That's what it means.
Is this what further education did for you?
Most students do about 4 hours of work a week. I'm telling
shocking.
you. It means you go to the bank and say, can I have a student loan, please? And they say yes. And then the first 3 weeks of your first term, you spend all that in the pub drinking bombers.
Did you get a grant to go to the University of the Trent?
I got a full grant.
Yeah, and what did you do with that money?
I spent it all in the first 3 weeks.
On what?
Drink.
So you're actually talking about yourself here?
Yes, I am, yeah. No, they didn't have an O-level in PE. If they did, I would have got it because I was good at PE. I used to shimmy up that rope in the gym, like a whatever a good rope climber is called.
An ape.
What? Ooh, hoo.
If you love the Two Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.